We are in a confusing set because this is actually the first series for Nicov because he wasn't able to play his first round due to Dogal being absent. He'll get that done soon. And then the second series for MBL in Group D. MBL had an amazing start. MBL, he won 3-0 against ACCM. So if he could get another good result here, things are going to be looking good for him to eventually advance out of the group. Or at the very least, stay alive, Dave, because we're talking about really good players. And the reality is, at the conclusion of the group stage, 2 players are being relegated out of the season.
Yep. I switched MBL to red just because I know blue and purple is an issue for people.
That's fine.
I don't know if you're going to keep them.
Okay. I'll do that too. Cool. That's fine. Yep.
Okay. So we've got Ravines here, and I think Ravines, the first time we saw it was in Hidden Cup. Am I wrong with that?
Well, it did exist before, but no one played it, and we switched up. So yeah, basically in tournaments, I think that's correct. Yeah, and we had some really good games. I remember lots of paladins and plumed archers in one particular game.
Was that one with Princess, right? That was Doubt against Tato, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was definitely so hard one of the GL guys, but yeah, it was. I think it was Tato Leary. If I had to go back and check.
No, I think it was definitely. I think there was definitely a Princess involved. I think there was Princess Yodit, and I think that was Doubt. If I remember correctly,
we probably shouldn't spend too much time talking about this, but I actually think they both had a good Ravines game. So I think we're both right.
Maybe.
But back then, the Mongols were seen as a really solid pick. We didn't make too many changes. We do have a lot less hunt here compared to standard DE Ravines if people search for it. Nicov picks the Mongols here, is pushing in all the hunt. And MBL goes for a civ that many people consider to be a counter to the Mongols and the Berbers. So should be a fun one.
I think the last time I saw this might have been... I know the Mongols player won. I think it might have been Viper Say My Name.
Yeah, it was
the last time
Viper
I saw
Say
this
My Name
map.
was the first game they played. Yep.
Yeah, and Say My Name also went Berbers, if I remember correctly. And Viper got that forward position, went Magadai, and there was just no hope from that. But that was a more uneven player matchup, I think, than MBL Nicov. So we'll see if MBL can get going here. Is MBL going to play standard scouts, or is MBL going to do an MBL thing and go Spearman Skirmisher, try and wall the entire map?
I think it does make sense to go scout opening because you're pretty far away from the enemy. But most likely, unless the players make mistakes, we won't see a ton of damage done. Nicov may be the most vulnerable because his berry positions are actually a bit more forward. MBLs are more towards the backside. But this matchup, I think, is determined in early Castle Age, mid Castle Age, because that's where Berbers start to be much stronger than the Mongols. Right now, the Mongols take advantage of the hunt, but once camels and knights start coming out, and maybe even camel archers, Mongols can have a really tough time.
Yeah, I think it all depends on castle positions as well as you get later on in the game. Like, who has the momentum? Who has the forward castles? If the Berbers are, like, going camel archers, that's fine. But if their castles are defensive at home, the Mongols can take control of the map. And as you see, guys, there's all these extra golds, all these extra stones, but there are only 3 tiles. So you got to secure multiple ones of those. You can't just rely on just going out and securing one corner of the map. You really, really need to expand here, especially later on into the game, because these won't last for very, very long at all.
Yeah, it's an interesting map because you can get sucked into the security of your base, having the outposts and then the walls you place, but you are going to need to expand, and that's what I liked about it. This was meant to be not quite a closed map, but a mix, and it would actually be a really funny series. We have Ravines, which is like a mix of closed and open land map. Then we have Arena, which people would consider a more closed land map. And then we have Arabia, which is more open land map. So this is like the best of all worlds, I guess, unless you really like water, which Nicov, I'm surprised, didn't choose against MBL. Maybe not feeling it today.
Okay, so Nicov went up without Loom. He went up 18 population. He's going to get Loom once he gets to Feudal Age, hopefully. Yeah, okay, yep. Queues it up right away. I've seen that a few times recently. Players are starting to go up with Loom more often. And especially with Hera, like, he makes me nervous because he goes up with Loom, no Loom, and then he queues up like 3 villagers after it.
I know, it's so greedy.
I'm just like, dude, you better remember one of these times you're going to get super punished for it. But I haven't seen it happen yet. MBL is going to be pissed at his villagers for going over there and killing those pigs far away from his TC, but he's going for the full walls. Berber villagers are speedy, going to get out to those walls in time, and he's trying to secure the entire base. And what does he go for here? There's a barracks at the back. A minute and 30 seconds still until he's in feudal age.
It's not the start you would want if you're MBL. You know, like we know he likes his walls, but right now, I mean, he's not really going to open offensively at all. He still isn't completely walled on the left side, but I guess Nicov is just going to assume it's MBL. So he must be walled. Running into the wolf won't delay MBL too much. I guess he's just going to go Spearman and farm defense, Dave. Like, I think he'll just macro his way, and Nicov has to decide on if he wants to switch into archers or something like that.
Well, that was the question I was asking earlier, right? Like 99% of players would go scouts here with Berbers.
Yeah,
but MBL, we know he's going to at least make a few spearmen. His TC is still open, so Nicov could theoretically run through there. Nikov's getting some good hits on that house there with the scouts. Dark Age house. Once he's in feudal age, won't be able to go through there. And MBL now adding another house in front of his town center, and he's fully walled. And now decision-making is important here for Nicov. Does he add more feudal age army? Doesn't seem like it would give him much more value. Probably just wants to go eco upgrades, ironically for Nicov, into booming into castle age, probably. Yeah, and he's adding walls himself.
I mean, there's a couple things that could be going through Nikov's mind. First thing is, you were up to feudal age so fast compared to MBL. Sometimes you forget I went 18 pop, and you might be thinking he's going fast castle or some crazy thing, which MBL is clearly not doing. The other thing is, you're expecting MBL not to make army. And then the thing I have the most trouble with, and I think this can separate people from 2100 elo all the way up to 2500 elo, is when do you go to gold and when do you add archers? Because right now he's going to gold, but that 100 wood is almost 2 farms, and then the archer range is 3 farms, and then his food eco might not be good, and then he might not have a good castle age. So it's really tricky. I don't have any answers, but for now, Nikov's just at least doing something and forcing some reaction out of MBL.
MBL's added a stable here. Also, another issue with MBL with timings like this is, honestly, I don't think MBL knows what he's doing. So, like, how are you supposed to know as a player what he's doing either, right? Like, that's one of the hidden strengths of MBL. It's what makes him so good in situations like this. Like, MBL is just adding stuff, and he's like, well, I mean, scouts could be good here.
Yeah.
I guess I'll open stable. Maybe I don't need to make spearmen. Maybe I don't need to make an archer range, and Nicov is in the dark as to those decisions as well. So I think Nicov just needs to play his own game at the moment, not try and counter what MBL's doing, and try and get up to castle age in a decent position. And right now, I mean, he's getting his farms down, has the eco upgrades, getting his walls down, and the scouts from MBL not going to find too much value unless he can pick off like the odd walling villager somewhere.
Yeah, when you're thinking about Nicov, sometimes you're thinking about getting frustrated at times. When you think about MBL, you think about frustrating others, right? So this is a fun little matchup because this spearman engagement,
they're getting value.
Is getting really good value. Yeah, Nikov's just
like he
done
killed
with
all
it.
the scouts.
Yeah.
He killed all the scouts. Nicov doesn't have a single scout available, which means he won't really have that much presence on the map. MBL's 2 scouts won't be that much of a factor here, but the exploration for Nicov is going to suffer. You look at his point of view, his fog of war. He can't see any of the extra resources. MBL's going to bash his head up against this wall on the left side, not going to be able to get through, and then use the scouts to explore the rest of the map so he can expand easier than Nicov can.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think Nicov might have a faster castle age, but he doesn't have any intel on where to go necessarily behind MBL's walls. And it's just a tale as old as time for competitive Age of Empires too. As someone trying to be aggressive against MBL, MBL gets the walls down, and the other high-level players will poke fun at him time to time for lots of spearman play and lots of walls, but at the end of the day, the guy gets it done, and I think MBL is probably one of the best players at adapting in the mid-game, so he just wants to get there as whatever way he can get there, he wants to get to the mid-game, and he's going to do that here.
And especially against MBL, like normally you wouldn't expect Berbers to go for a siege forward. In a situation like this, you'd expect them to go on a stone or something, build towards the late game since their composition is so nice against Mongols. But without those scouts there, you can't really stop the villagers from coming forward if he chooses to go for something like that. He still has the spearman, which is good. And he's patrolling on the side there, and he's got a spearman looping around for the scouts. But all these scouts from MBL are going to force Nicov into palisade walls behind. Nicov is now up in a decent position, and MBL thinking about doing the same thing.
So I love what Nicov is doing with the stone mining, because I think so frequently players try and delay the castle with Mongols, and there's a lot of reason for that. It's because Mangudai are expensive. We could then talk about how Berbers have the camel archers, and do you want to make Mangudai, whatever. But if MBL has map control against me, and he has cheap knights, I'm expecting a villager to run forward, and I'm expecting Knight Siege. So, you know, MBL can't see this. Obviously, MBL's still being super annoying as he does lose a couple units outside the walls, but I kind of like the approach from Nicov. It will force MBL to maybe need to go to camel archers earlier than maybe he'd want to. I don't know. Lots of speculating for us. MBL, though, only has 100 stone. What's up with that? Did he sell some?
Dude, like, yes, he did. But Tristan, it's like I said, he doesn't know the plan either. So
No one knows.
yeah, exactly. That's the strength. He doesn't know what he's doing. Nicov doesn't know what he's doing. We don't know what he's doing. And that's why he's one of my favorite players to watch, right? And there's a blacksmith at the back there for MBL. And he's not on stone, like you said. He can drop max 1 TC unless he wants to buy the stone in kind of a GL style. Sell the stone to buy it later.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be curious to see what MBL does here, because there's no way for him to know what Nikov's doing. It's the funniest little fight in the middle as we just see Spearman v Spearman. But MBL is getting fletching, and he's making 1 archer. But I don't know, like maybe we're talking about the camel archer. Maybe he actually gets forced into Genitor if he sees the Mangudai. That'd be fun.
I mean, maybe. He's got... His army consists of an archer, 2 scouts, and 3 spearmen. Maybe he needs to make 4 of some... Oh, Genitor! Here we go!
No way,
Here we
man.
go! Let's go, dude! Let's go!
The thing is, it's actually a good unit. It's just the cost aspect that gets really awkward with the Genitor. Nicov is not rushing the castle down. He's going for more of the eco approach. Love the town center decision on the left, because that gives him a wood line and an extra gold. But Genitor and MBL buys the stone back and will drop his TCs in the back of his base. So we expect this to go late, Dave. We're expecting Mangudai, and already we're talking about how the Berbers can counter it. Fun stuff.
I was getting so mad. I went Genitours the other day as like a troll because I had a good position on my enemy. And he stayed in Feudal Age, made scouts with a +1 armor, and my Genitors, even with Bodkin, couldn't kill them.
Yeah, it's
so annoying.
I guess the bright side is you can run away, unlike a normal skirmisher. So that's the positive. You know, then also can combine it with some things, I guess. But just look at MBL. Look at the top right. Look at MBL's units. He's just everything.
Yep. Knight, Cav Archer, Scout, 3 Spearmen, 4 Genitor. He cancels the Cav Archer now, and Nicov is going for that castle in just... It might be the ugliest castle position I've ever seen in the game.
Can't do that on Houseboat. Someone said this is Houseboat in 2020, in like 2030 or something. Global warming edition.
I mean, it does protect and it's defensive, and you can't really justify going out into that hill because you don't know what MBL has right now. But still, that castle is downhill from literally everything.
Yeah, I guess, you know, sometimes it's hard to build on certain types of elevations, so that could have been part of it. But also, I do think he's been trying to hide the fact that he has Mangudai a little bit.
Yep, that too.
Uh-oh.
He did go for that second TC as well before the castle, so he got a little bit greedy, but not too greedy.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a hole there?
Yeah, he just deleted it to go build a TC, I think. And this brings me back to the lack of scouting that you mentioned, Dave. I don't think you would ever want to run to the middle. He does have the Mangudai, so now MBL knows. But Nicov doesn't know about the Genitours, and I'm excited. I'd love to see Nikov's face when he sees the Genitours show up.
Ambi, what is that? What is that unit?
Oh my god.
They can't even kill a monk. 4 of them can't even kill a monk with downhill hits. And now they're trying to kill another one. MBL sniped 3 monks.
3, yeah.
With these, so they've already gotten value. Even if he doesn't make any more. And they're going to snipe maybe a Mangudai here. No ballistics for him. +2 armor on the way. Nicov now forced to add a knight of his own.
Yeah, I mean, just awkward, right? I think killing 3 monks is more than worth it. And I don't think he lost the Genitor either, so.
Nope.
That's sick.
And he's got 3 TCs before Nicov gets his 3rd one up, so we'll see if he can keep them running there. Idle TC temp for MBL racking up a little bit, but still villager count fairly even. And Nicov does have wheelbarrow, 2nd farm upgrade, and 2nd wood upgrade.
Oh man, you've had to go into a castle if you're Nicov, a freaking castle, and you still can't deal with 1 stable, 1 archer range. And MBL knows this game is going to go late regardless, but he's just trying to get whatever lead he can when he can.
Yep.
Love how annoying he's being right now, putting all the pressure on his teammate. Can't help but feel like maybe Nicov could make a couple stable units of his own here. Like 1 or 2 knights or even 1 or 2 camels should do pretty well against what MBL has here.
And look at the Pierce armor on these Genitors, like 4+2.
Yeah.
That's really, really good against the non-elite Mangudai, right? The Mangudai are only doing, what? They're
1 damage.
doing 1 damage, yeah.
And it actually wouldn't make a ton of sense to rush Bodkin when you're trying to boom out of so many TCs because you need the food for that. So I don't think it gets a whole lot better. Would just love to see Nicov plug that gap on the front. That way MBL doesn't send in more units here because you know MBL is going to try.
They're producing some knights too. Has 6 Genitors, and this army at the back is going to be incredibly annoying. It means Nicov can expand to the middle here.
Yep.
MBL keeps control of the map, and now Nicov is going to wall off the other side even more on the left. So he's going to slowly secure it, and he's going to lose another monk to Genitors.
Oh, man.
No way. 4 monks dead now? No, dude.
It's such a good play, man. And
Frustrating.
MBL has invested a lot into this, too. I was very surprised to see he got the final armor upgrade, which took him to the Pierce armor we talked about. But the only thing I would say about MBL, get those relics right now, because Nicov has no map control, but he's about to have more map control. That's been the only downside for him, is he's got 1 relic. I feel like he was late with some of the monk production. If he can get the relics and get the scouting on the sides, when this goes late, he's going to have the edge for sure.
MBL's trying to kill a villager here, but he's just going to lose his knights. And Nikov's done a good job to clear all this up. He's got a decent number of Mangudai now, chasing the other Genitors back. MBL does have a monk there, so he's going to convert the camel. He's going to be frustrated about that one for sure.
Yep.
Not converting that.
Okay, so, you know, to continue to chat about where you go from here. So I'm liking Mangudai Hussar opening still. I think that if you have enough Mangudai, you can chew up any melee units that come in from Berbers, and then having Hussar to maybe push back Genitors. If it goes super late, though, many people prefer the Mongols because of the siege, but that is if we go past an hour, most likely, where Siege Ram and Siege Onager something
And if you're
Berbers
fighting
just
in a
can't
choke
compete
point.
with. Yeah, true.
If you're fighting a mobility war, the siege isn't going to be that much of a factor.
I like how Nicov was able to manage his economy with all of his upgrades, which is something that we have to say after years of giving him a hard time for his eco upgrades.
Dude,
he's
the last couple
improved
months,
big time.
he's been so good. Yeah, occasionally he relapses, but he's usually been pretty good. If the problem with Nicov is if he doesn't get them upon immediately reaching that age, he's never getting them. They're never coming in, right? Yep. That's the issue. But he has been really, really good getting them as soon as he advances ages. And MBL is the first one up to Imperial Age. He's going for a castle forward in front of that stone. Nicov can't deny that position, and he's still adding Genitors.
This is awesome. I think it was a Red Bull event where some of the AM guys said that they had a Genitor strategy they never got to use. So I know in the AM camp, if you could call it that, they know the Genitors are strong, but my goodness, man, huge investment, full Castle Age upgrades. Now he's going Imp. Fast Imp Genitor is not something I expected to see here in Nikov's first round in T90 Titans League. Like, well, welcome to the show, man. Genitors all over your face. What in the world?
And as long as he uses the Genitors just to pick off the Mangudai number, he's going to be really great here. And look at this. Mangudai numbers is what we were talking about. That's the key for Nicov. That's usually the key for Mongols, right? He picks off another monk. That's the 5th monk of the game that's gone down. And it's only 1 Genitor dying in that engagement. Nicov needs to really be careful not to lose his Mangudai mass.
Nicov is not expecting MBL to be up right now. He is not going to expect it. Another monk goes down. And I think MBL, as good as the Berbers can be and how they can switch into other things, I think his next castle will go forward. And he wants to try and go for the kill with an early Treb push here. Because after getting upgrades, Nikov's army can't stop this. Nikov's army has no chance for at least like 4 or 5 minutes, and then he needs to be making something other than his unique unit.
And there's no armor on those camels either. So even if MBL is afraid of the camels, he can just snipe them down with the Genitors. Also has a couple knights in there to potentially deal with the scorpions. I love the scorpion edition from Nicov. It's not that expensive. And right now it's keeping the units away from you. He also has 17 Mangudai still, and he's at 2 minutes from Imperial Age with the second castle going up.
Let's see if MBL notices this castle. Because he's actually shifted his other castle on the left. This is more of the long-term castle placement. He is opening with the Treb, so he clearly believes that he can at least run forward and deal with his army, but he doesn't know that Nicov just completed his own castle there.
Mm-hmm. Nicov also walling on the right side. That's great with house walls too.
Yeah, that's
House
really
wall,
good.
stone wall.
That's really
No
good.
palisades on that side. Even stone walling behind the palisades on the other side.
Nicov needs a Hussar switch, like right now. I think the continuous Mangudai queue is looking more and more questionable the more Genitors you see. And it's almost like he doesn't believe that MBL will continue to make them, but MBL will continue to make them. And if it's not Genitors, it's probably Camel Archer. So I would love to see more stables and more on food here for Nicov.
He just bought himself a castle, MBL.
Yeah, right in that spot. And then he knows that his trebuchets will be protected by that. This is a lovely spot for a castle.
Ooh, elite. I thought that was elite Camel Archer. I was like, how does he get the res for that? It's elite Genitor, Tristan. It's elite Genitor.
Okay, so
oh man,
I think they get one more attack, and they get I forget actually what this brings you.
I'm looking at it. I have not seen this in so long.
It's definitely 4+4. MBL has all the upgrades. I don't know. Does it give you extra pierce armor?
Extra pierce armor would be nice. Extra range would be great.
I think it's just
I don't
HP.
think it does, though. Let's see. Yeah, it's just HP and... Ooh, that's
so
not the
5
greatest.
5 HP and +1 attack is all he got.
That better be a bargain upgrade, then. I don't know how much that costs, but that is not the greatest upgrade in the world, that's for sure. And this is another production building from Nicov going down.
Yeah.
Usually you want to take out the castles from Mongols. Nicov already has 30 Mangudai, so it's not the worst thing in the world to lose that, but...
Nikov's in full panic mode right now. He's still making siege, Dave, so I think he's considering Onager. But, I mean, what I do like is how he's keeping his Mangudai alive, and I like his castle on the left and how far away that is from the action, but we've seen this before with Mongols. It just takes so much time to get to your other options.
And look at how much pierce armor is on these Genitors now with that final armor upgrade.
Should be 8, right?
He can just run under the castles and snipe the Mangudai if he finds himself in a good position. And Nicov is going to really sacrifice units trying to get these trebuchets. He's got 2 mangonels, which is actually a good addition. He's going Onager now.
And we have drill for Nicov. So in 40 seconds, he will have speedy Onagers. MBL doesn't have a lot of Camel Archers, but even still, that many Onagers could be a problem. What do you think about MBL wheeling to the right with those 4 trebs? I really wish he would have all of his trebs on that castle from Nicov right now.
Yep. But it's a difficult position, right? If the stable's there, how are you going to set them up?
Yeah.
You're going to go be so far forward, the Mangudai can snipe them. Can't really come forward with the Genitors. And here's the first big engagement. MBL notices.
MBL's got to get out of here, man. He will lose his Treb, which means Nicov keeps his castle up. I'm curious on if the Genitors can micro down the Onagers, because they only do so much damage.
The answer is no.
4+4. Yeah.
He had 20 Genitors there. They're doing 1 damage per shot. The answer is no. There is 1 knight there, but now the Trebs on the right side. Mangudai are coming forward to snipe those. MBL, in hindsight, it looks like a good idea to shift them over here. I think if they were over on the left, they would have been killed.
Yeah, maybe. Yep. Obviously, if he wouldn't have gotten the castle, would have been a problem. Now, Camel Archers, on the other hand, they can help out here, and they are now elite Camel Archers, so Nicov needs to get
Mangudai,
more
though.
siege. He does get elite Mangudai, Dave, but there's only 1 Onager. Nicov needs to back up here. This is a really bad engagement for his Mangudai.
Almost got a good shot there with the Onager. MBL coming forward with Camel Archers. Nicov misses another shot. He's trying to repair the Onager. It gets another big one. Onager stays alive.
Oh,
and it goes down.
The Scorpions are actually going to be beneficial here as well, to be honest. And man, what a game. 175 pop for Nicov. He does have a tendency to overboom in the stressful situations. So it's 150 villagers. Whereas MBL, as he backs away here and will lose a trebuchet, he's got 130 villagers. What a game, man. I'm loving this.
Yep, MBL now thinking about more Camel Archers. And the Camel Archers in this situation are good, especially since you've forced Nicov into the Onager upgrade. Expensive. Drill upgrade is expensive. And Camel Archers can do a better job of sniping those down.
MBL going for Bombard Cannons. We know how good he is with Siege Micro. But against Mongol Siege, it is a completely different story at times. Also, love the addition of Light Cav now from Nicov. He still has to get upgrades, though. This is a big problem. He doesn't have a single upgrade besides Bloodlines.
Only getting the first armor upgrade for the Mangudai, too.
Yep, yep.
Ugh. And now the stable is going down that he's producing light cav from. MBL, really good composition here. MBL getting Hussar, locking down the right side with another castle. That's really, really nice position. Even going for stone walls. I love the way MBL's setting himself up for the late game here. Losing a few Genitours. Not going to find much value against the Magadai. But the Bombard Cannons, unassailable still with those Camel Archers protecting them. That means Nicov can't get too far forward with the Onagers. Otherwise, he gets sniped down.
Oh, he's doing a great job protecting him, though. If he wasn't Mongols, Onager wouldn't have done a thing here. But to have the speed to run in and out when he wants is amazing for him. He has stopped producing villagers. He is catching up on upgrades. I think Nicov just needs to take his shots with his Onagers when he can and just wait for a few more upgrades to flow in here. He's adding the stables, so you've got to think that the Hussar number will go up. And, oh, there he goes with the Magadai. MBL didn't kill a single Onager with his Bombard Cannons and just lost 2 of them.
That's the advantage of having drill, right? That's the advantage
So
of having
fast.
drill. You can get so much value from just 2 Onagers. Hit and run with them. MBL even adding a castle further back in his base. That's a little bit too defensive, I think. But he's starting to think about the defense, and he wants to just focus all the attention. Magadai against Camel Archer.
What a fun post-imp game. It's rare that we see this in competitive AoE2 unless the map accounts for it, and I think this map did. So, like you mentioned, when we saw Say My Name and Viper play, it ended early imp. It wasn't very close. These two, so close right now, and still not fully upgraded for either player. MBL has upgrades to catch up on. Nicov getting Thumb Ring, Parthian, getting the attack now. More Onagers move forward for him, and again, he just backs away. He knows he's not ready yet. MBL's got more military right now.
Yep. And the Magadai, now the Onagers are kind of blocking the Magadai. MBL in with the Hussars. Magadai numbers are falling here. The Onagers are going to die, and MBL doesn't need to respect those Onagers anymore. Never mind, that one stays alive. Drill, man. Drill is crazy.
Yeah.
Stays alive.
Look at the repairs from Nicov, though. I mean, MBL microing down Siege, which most players would not dare to do with Camel Archers. And, okay, this is where MBL wants to go for the kill. He realizes he has Nicov on his heels, excuse me. He'll drop this castle once the deer moves out of the way, and he's got 2 Trebs, 1 Bomber Cannon. If he can push through the gut here, Nicov might be finished.
Just keep the Hussar production up, and you should be fine if you're MBL. You have the Camel Archer mass behind. Trebs on the hill attacking the castle. Nicov needs to engage this. Keep the Hussar production up. Keep them going after the Onagers. Make the Onagers hang back.
Oh, man. Nicov does pull back when he needs to. He still has more Onagers pumping, Dave. That castle for MBL, though, is going to be so helpful to secure that position with his Trebs. Unless the Magadai has something to say about it.
Doesn't manage to kill the Camel Archers, but the Camel Archers are on a hill, matching up against the unit that they counter. The castle from Nicov will fall, likely. Oh, it's still alive!
It'll stay up for another volley. Yeah, it'll stay up for a bit longer here. He needs another trap.
Get the cannon. Sorry, cannon? Cannon.
The
camel cannon.
Camel cannon, whatever. That's an idea for a mod somebody can make. And Nicov says, I'm not finished yet. I'm going to drop the castle where my TC started. And I will say, I don't know if it's a good castle to place, but it does look good. So I appreciate that, Nicov. But man, Dave, what I've been thinking about is Nicov needs to eliminate some of his villagers because he's at 200 pop. So the main issue for him is he just needs to have a little bit more in the way of army. Yeah. At one point had 30 army queued and he had no pop space. So I think deleting some lumberjacks would do amazing things for Nicov right now.
Hussar's a good upgrade for him. Yeah. Eventually he wants to take this to MBL's base, and having Hussar is really great for him there. Also great meat shield for his Magadai, which even though they get kind of countered by the Camel Archers, they still put out a lot of damage. Like Magadai are still really good, especially with a meat shield in front. MBL still trying to micro down these Onagers that have been such a pain. He manages to get one, but they're so quick with drill.
I think Nicov just wants to take the Treb, but his Magadai aren't all able to hit it. And the theme of the last 5 to 10 minutes has just been MBL has more military. You could argue he has better military. He's got full control over the game.
And now he's starting with the raids.
Yeah.
He's going to attempt to go in.
Yeah, this is where it starts to fall apart. Well, I think it would help Nicov in a situation where Nicov actually had more gold control, but that's what I'm worried about for him. I'm just not seeing a lot on gold, and just Hussar is not going to be enough to push back this hill.
This is an insane opening game. This is the matchup we always talk about, Mongols versus Berbers. late game matchup. We see it so rarely. Game usually ends before this.
Yep.
And we're seeing the Berbers with a better position here, in a position that the Mongols need to fight against, uphill. Just dominate.
Now, we talked about MBL in the early stages, about how he kind of figures it out over time, but he knew, at least, that Ravines has a lot of hunt. He knows that Mongols is a common pick here. And he opened up with Berbers, and this is the exact position he would have wanted if you would have asked him in Dark Age. Took no damage in Feudal Age, gets the win here in Post-Imp.
Crazy.
MBL has had an amazing start to T90 Titans League, man. He had a 3-0 result in the first round. This is his second round. Already has that 4th win. $40 per win, by the way, for those that don't know. There's also placement prizes too, but a fun game to watch, Dave. I love it. I hope the other games go late as well, and we might have that potential.
I love the Genitours, and getting the +2 armor so early on those meant the Mangudai could just never, they could never fight them. Nicov has to go into Onager just to counter the Genitours. There was no Genitours there. I think he can make do against the Camel Archers, maybe put that res into something else. But the Genitours there early forced them into Onagers so that the Mangudai would be protected. And behind this, all the impressive things from MBL, like stonewalling the right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 castles in defense of his base. So even if Nicov wanted to go for counterattacks, it wasn't possible.
I think MBL played so good, it's hard to question a lot of things from Nicov, but I think he should have been farming more and opening Imp with Hussar. To delay Lycav and to delay Hussar that long when he saw MBL with those Genitours, I think is a bit questionable.
He had to get the Onager upgrade.
Yeah.
So I think that delayed him a lot, right?
Yeah, maybe Onager was actually what he decided on instead of Lycav. It's tricky because MBL was already mixing in Camel Archers, which do well against the Hussars too. So I don't think there's many people who could have been able to push MBL out of that position once MBL hit Imp faster. A great start for the Norwegian. And Nicov picked Arena as his home map. So that's what we're going to have for game 2. MBL did play in a, 6.5 hour game on Arena 2 years ago that everyone keeps talking about. So.
You know what? He says he hates Arena, but MBL, if you get him into an Arena game, is one of the best Arena players of all time. If you ask me.
I agree.
Like,
he's amazing.
He's nuts on that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing. And he did win on Arena with Teutons against Britons in the first round as well. So people continue to pick Arena against MBL. Just because the guy doesn't like to play Arena on ladder does not mean you should be picking it against him in tournaments.
But Nicov did beat Hera on Arena in Only Land Cup.
Ah, so maybe a bit of recent confidence, I guess, for Nicov there.
It was a mirror match of that Hera matchup.
Aztecs Bohemians.
Yeah, Hera, and I think Hera learned from that because he didn't go heavy into Eagles. He tried to go heavy into Eagles against Nicov, and he got full Castle Age hand cannoned.